This is my life now. I'm a cow. Telling Matt, like, honestly, breastfeeding is the best. You just have like milk on demand and it calms them right down. Would you like to place your food order? Let me guess. The usual? Yeah? I'm gonna miss these days so much. Our breastfeeding journey has finally come to an end. I always knew that I would eventually want to do like a weaning video and just kind of explaining what the process was like, just because we have been on this journey for a very long time. If you're new here, I've been breastfeeding my daughter Sage for now 2.5 years. I guess officially 2.5 years because we've just ended, which is why I'm making this video. And honestly, that was like the mark I wanted to hit. You know, first it was 1 year, and then it was like, okay, let's see if we can get to 1.5 years. Like, there really wasn't like a goal. It was just see how we feel as we go. And then I got to 2 years and I just didn't feel ready. And I definitely felt the pressure to stop from society and friends and family. Not in a mean way, just there's pressure. When you pass that 1 year mark, everyone likes to ask you, so when are you stopping? Oh, she's still breastfeeding? Oh, okay. Even if it's meant with good intent, it's just like you're bombarded by the question a lot. And so it feels like everyone else is really concerned about how long you're gonna be breastfeeding your child. And really, it's just up to you and your baby and how it's going. There is so much research about the benefits of breastfeeding in general, but also past the age of 1. A lot of people think that babies don't need milk after 1 year old, but that's not true. There's so many benefits and there's definitely reasons to keep going if you're able to. You know, you don't want to feel bad and guilty and stressed out if you can't. You're going back to work, whatever the case is, your supply is low. But if you're able to breastfeed, like, keep going. That's amazing. It's so good for you. It's so good for baby. And don't let anyone else pressure you to stop earlier than you want to. So you guys obviously know I am pregnant with baby number 2. So that was another deciding factor on the decision to officially wean Sage. And let me tell you, the way this came to an end, I couldn't have imagined it myself. Like, it really was a happy ending, and I was so stressed about it because I thought it was going to be a battle, like an emotional battle with Sage, and just a really emotional transition to eventually dive into. And I was kind of dreading it and avoiding it, to be honest. But at the beginning of this year, I kind of told myself, okay, you know, I want to get through the rest of the winter season, that like cold and flu season, and make it to like that 2.5 year mark. And I think that will be a good time to stop. And also I was starting to notice Sage becoming less dependent on it. Like, if I wasn't home one night, she could go down to bed. I just felt like we were starting to make our way to that end of the journey. And then obviously once I found out I was pregnant, that thought about weaning was just more on my mind. And you know, honestly, breastfeeding while pregnant wouldn't have been a huge deal if I wasn't so nauseous in my first trimester. It was really difficult for me to keep down food. I was throwing up a lot. I filmed a whole first trimester recap video. I'll link it here if you guys want to check that out, and I talk more about that. But yeah, breastfeeding while pregnant, there were some changes I noticed. My breasts were definitely getting sore and growing while breastfeeding, but it wasn't because of milk, it was because of pregnancy. So they were very sore and tender. Even, I know TMI, but that's what my channel is. Even my nipples were just sore and sensitive, almost like I was starting breastfeeding for the first time again. I just felt like it was a little bit more painful for me. Eventually that pain subsided, but I could just tell too that Sage wasn't getting as much milk as she once was. Like, I could just tell she was sucking harder, trying to get more milk. She'd be like squeezing with her hands. If you know, you know what I'm talking about. And I could just tell that, yeah, she wasn't getting as much as she once was. It kind of worked out perfectly that I was weaning while pregnant, because I think it also made her less interested in the milk, because she probably was like, it tastes different, I'm not getting as much, it's not as enjoyable. And also I was so sick that a lot of mornings I would just hide up here while Matt did the morning routine with her so she wouldn't ask for milk. And I just, like, there was no way I could breastfeed her first thing in the morning. So then we kind of transitioned to just one time a day, and that would usually be in the evening before bedtime, or if she asked for it earlier in the afternoon, I would sometimes give it to her, but I was still only doing twice a day, and a lot of times only once. And that's really all I could do. I was so nauseous. I was having a hard time keeping down food, and my body was trying to grow a baby, but also create breast milk. And it was just not really working out for me. I also knew I wanted just some space in between breastfeeding Sage and also baby number 2. I know some people go all the way throughout and they'll do like tandem breastfeeding with both, and I think that's really cool. And if Sage was younger, I would probably be more open to that idea, but the fact that I was already looking to wean her off around 2.5 years of age, it really worked out perfect timing. Like I just thought, okay, like I know I'm gonna wean her soon anyway, so let's wean her now to give me time before baby number 2. And also just because, like I said, I was just so sick in my first trimester, which made it even harder for me. And it really just worked out perfectly because, like I said, Sage kind of stopped asking for it as much, and I would just hide sometimes, and we would just do less and less feedings each day and each week. Besides breast milk, if you're looking for other delicious ways to feed your little ones, I have a full cookbook. It's a digital cookbook, so anyone can order it all over the world. The Baby HealthNut Cookbook has over 30 baby and parent approved recipes from starting solids all the way into toddlerhood. I'm actually working on book number 2. We're gonna be shooting photos for it very soon. And there's so many delicious recipes, ones that we are still cooking for Sage, like the blueberry coconut pancakes. There's popsicles, smoothies in there, desserts, there's a smash cake recipe in there, something for every child. I know they're gonna love it. There's so many 5-star review ratings from parents that have already purchased a copy and have been enjoying all the recipes with their family. So thank you so much, and I will have that link down below for you guys to check out. I get asked about this a lot, but like, when did I start creating a schedule and start cutting down feedings with Sage? I would say after she turned 1. Before then, I mean, she was always home with us. She only started daycare last fall after she turned 2, or just before she turned 2. So for the first 2 years of her life, she's been home with us. So it was really easy for me to do kind of like, you know, an all-you-can-drink buffet style. I would definitely say after the year mark, maybe 1.5 years, I started creating more of a schedule. You know, I went from breastfeeding 4 times to 3 times a day, and I would have specific times of the day that I would do it, usually when she would wake up from a nap. So when she woke up in the morning, when she woke up from her nap, and then I would do right before bed. So that was the only time I did it, like before a nap as opposed to after. And that worked really well for us for a long time. And then eventually, I think when she started daycare, I cut down to 2 times a day. And it was when she woke up in the morning and then before bed. And sometimes like when she'd come home from daycare, she would ask, or on the weekends where she was, you know, home with me all day, she would ask for an extra one, and I would sometimes, or when she's sick, I just offer it to her as much as she wants because liquids are so important. And that's kind of how we started to wean off. So really, by the time I got to the process of weaning, we're only doing twice a day, and then once in a while we would just like even drop a feed. If you're trying to drop a feed, something that's really helpful is having your partner, the one that's not breastfeeding, do things like bedtime routine once in a while, or just switching it up. I know when you're breastfeeding, it's just easier for you to do that stuff because you're gonna do it anyways and then put them to bed. But if you swap out with your partner, then baby is less likely to think about milk before, you know, going to bed. Especially when we transitioned to giving her milk when she woke up instead of before a nap. It was really helpful if Matt started that process, and then eventually I could do it, and she understood that she would get milk when she woke up. I always thought weaning Sage was gonna be a really traumatic event. I thought I would either have to like leave for a few days and be completely out of sight, or it was just gonna be this really emotional battle of her asking and me saying no, and then just giving in, and this back and forth, and it was just gonna be drawn out for a long time. That's what I thought it was gonna be like. And I just never thought Sage would eventually just self-wean. After we hit like the 1-year mark and the 2-year mark, I just thought she won't stop on her own unless I initiate it. But like I said, slowly she started becoming disinterested. I do think, I hear sometimes that once you get pregnant, your milk does change, and like the baby will be like, oh, no, I don't like it. She never acted like she didn't like the taste. If it did change, I don't know. I'm sure it did. But I did notice my supply was dropping. I remember I was already suspecting that it was dropping. I remember one morning in the shower, I felt like I didn't really feel full at all. And I decided to hand express just to see if any milk came out, and like it was hard to get 1 drop. And I would say that was the first time where I really came to the realization that like we're gonna be stopping soon. Even though I knew, okay, we want to stop around 2.5 and this is working great because Sage is already kind of self-weaning and it's just gonna be a natural process to stopping. Getting to that point is just an emotional one because it's like all you know. I felt like this superpower I had was fading away. And then I just remembered breaking down into tears in the shower, and I was really upset that my milk was disappearing. And it's so silly, but like, you know, over 2 years of breastfeeding feels like a long time, but when it's all you know and it's your routine, it's your superpower, it's your way of consoling and healing, and you know, whether Sage was sick or upset or whatever, like I had this way of soothing her, and it was just part of our routine and our relationship. And I know there's many other ways to bond with your kids, and we've already been doing that now that we've stopped, but when it's like so ingrained into your everyday life, it's very weird to stop and think about it. Like once you stop, like it'll never be that again. But I feel like I've gotten all the crying out. Anytime someone would ask me like about breastfeeding, I'm like, oh no, we're done now. And I would get upset. Being pregnant on top of it doesn't help. It's hard, and I think I'm at a better place about it. Honestly, I think it took me like a good like maybe 3 weeks to emotionally process it myself, and I'm sure Sage has processed it too, even though she like took it like a champ. Like I feel like she was just like, yeah mom, I'm good, I don't need milk. I also started to realize that we were ending when I would ask her for if she wanted milk at the end of the day, and she'd say nope. And I think it was also too because she was procrastinating on going to bed, and she knows now like milk means bedtime, and she'd be like no, because then like right before bed, like Matt would be putting her into bed, she'd be like milk, I changed my mind. It's just hard. You do feel rejected, at least I did. You're like, oh, not only is my milk supply dropping, but also my daughter now doesn't want it anymore, and that's good but also hard to accept at the same time. But like I said, I couldn't have asked for a better weaning experience. I thought it was going to be so stressful, and it just ended like perfectly. And I'm very grateful for that. I definitely do feel like I experienced a bit of just feeling down after stopping. I thought it was just feeling nauseous. But looking back, now that I'm kind of feeling better and stuff, and I've done some research, there is a drop of oxytocin, I believe that it is, so you can kind of feel a little bit down after you stop breastfeeding. It is a hormonal change. There definitely were some weeks where I was feeling really down, but luckily, you know, those feelings did pass. I would say we officially have stopped probably a month ago. I forget the exact date, but I remember one of the times I was breastfeeding her on the couch, and I kind of, this is like the hard thing is like, when the hardest part I think was like wondering like when would be the final time. And I think one of the times that I thought it was going to be the final time, I was in the living room breastfeeding her on the couch. And I remember I took out my phone just to like do a little clip and document it. And I just like processed myself, and I just thought, this is probably the last time. And I was just acknowledging it, and like also just like soaking it up with her, because it's like, it's happy tears, guys. Like, you know, I had no intention on breastfeeding her until she's like in school. It's bittersweet. You're like, my baby's growing up. So proud of her. I'm proud of us that we were able to get to this point. But I just knew in that moment, like, this is probably the last time. And I just like came to terms with it. And it was like a beautiful ending. There ended up being one more time. And it was just like up here in the bedroom. And she had asked for it one night. And I just thought, okay, like, what the heck? Like, I'll just do it. It might be good just to clear my milk ducts if there's anything there. Because I was also worried about things like mastitis or anything. Or just like stopping all of a sudden and having like any pain, because I really didn't do a lot of research on stopping. I just thought we weaned pretty slowly, that it'd probably be okay. And so that was the final time. So I need tissues. And I definitely processed it just like talking about it with Matt and having a good cry, and he just like reassured me, like, you're gonna find other ways to like bond with Sage. and show your love and all of that. So we said like, it'll just change, like it'll just be different. So he's just been like so supportive this whole time. Like never once was he like, are you guys gonna stop soon? Like this is going on for a while, or like he never thought it was silly that I was emotional about it. Like, so I think just like talking about it with your partner is really important. But yeah, I am like at a better stage about it. I'm just, you know, reminiscing on the journey, and it's just been a really good one. And I'm just like forever grateful that we had a really great experience, because I know that's not the case with everybody. So luckily I didn't have any issues with you know, stopping too quickly or any pain. I did once in a while do like some massaging and stuff like that and hand expressing, just in case there was any milk in there. But I assumed like if there's just a little bit, it kind of just gets dried up. I don't know what the process is. So we are officially weaned. I have so much content, videos, blog posts all about breastfeeding and my journey. So if you're starting on your own journey, or maybe you're starting to family plan and it's something you want to do in the future, I'm gonna have a whole breastfeeding playlist linked down below, as well as any blog posts that I've done, so you guys can just have those resources on hand. And I have so much information on there, like my tips, my hacks, what I ate that helped, like all the things. And I hope that it helps other parents that are looking to breastfeed their little ones. It is such a beautiful journey and something I'm so grateful to have experienced. And now that we've officially stopped, honestly, like I thought Sage would ask for it more. I think she's asked for it twice, and it's more like, I was trying to explain to my sister, it's more she's just asking like, either she's trying to delay going to bed or something, and she'll be like, mommy, milk? And she's like, like, is she gonna say yes? Like, I don't know. And then I just tell her nicely, like, you know, mommy, it's all, like, mommy doesn't have any more milk. It's all gone. And like, she understands and she doesn't get upset. She's just like, oh, okay. Like, she totally doesn't care and just like thinks like, oh, okay, I'll have water. It's fine. So yeah, that is really all I have to say. Hopefully my mascara is not down my face. And I feel like this was a really great way to end our journey, process it once again for myself. It's honestly something that I feel really good about now. I thought it would be harder on me too, but I think we both just ended it at the right time, and it just felt really natural and the perfect ending to a beautiful breastfeeding journey. So if you've been following me from the beginning, when I knew nothing about breastfeeding and I thought, I don't think my body can produce milk, here we are 2.5 years later, and I'm just grateful to be sharing this video with all of you guys who have supported me, and I'm excited to see how baby number 2's breastfeeding journey goes. Maybe it's gonna be really different, I have no idea. It has a lot to do with the baby as well. I think a lot of moms put the pressure on themselves, but it's a two-way thing. And I think Sage from the beginning has always been really good at nursing, and she just picked it up so quickly. So fingers crossed, baby number 2 is also good with the latching skills and sucking, but only time will tell, and we'll see how that goes. And I'm excited to share that journey with you guys as well. I really hope I'm able to breastfeed again and have this like a similar experience. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a fabulous day, and I will see you in the next video, hopefully with less tears. Okay, bye guys.